Right guys, if you've just arrived in Bolivia without any foreign currency and are looking to stretch your budget, then stay tuned, because that was the exact situation that I found myself in a couple months ago when I entered Bolivia. So when I came into Bolivia, I'd actually entered from Peru overland, and I didn't have any US dollars on me or euros or foreign currency because I'd been away for quite a long time by this point, travelling. But when I did arrive into Bolivia, I was made pretty evidently aware that there was a blue dollar exchange rate, or a parallel market rate for foreign currency, which basically means that if you have physical foreign currency, then you can exchange it in currency exchanges for a lot more than what the official rate would give you. If you were to, for example, go to an ATM in Bolivia and try and take out Bolivianos, you would get charged to the pound at least around 9 to the pound. Whereas in the parallel market rate, at least when I was there, it fluctuated between 16 to 20 Bolivianos to the pound. So you're talking double the money if you can find a way to basically leverage your foreign currency. So when I actually came into Bolivia and I heard about this, I couldn't find much information about it online in terms of, if you don't have foreign currency, what are the online methods that you can use to kind of get Bolivianos in a safe way. So I kind of ended up having to piece it together with just speaking to people in hostels and on the road in general, and finding out how to do it. There wasn't a helpful YouTube video that basically tells you from start to finish how to take out Bolivianos online. So the application that I actually ended up using was PayPal, or PayPal's partner company Xoom, to send basically pounds to myself and convert them into Bolivianos through this application with a slight fee. I think it was maybe £4. To take advantage of this sort of parallel rate. So to break it down step by step, as basic as I can, essentially if you have a PayPal account, you can go into your PayPal app and you can select cash pickup. And within this you can basically send money to yourself, so you basically create a receiver of the money on PayPal in the cash pickup section, and you just basically fill out all your details, and I think in the address that's actually in this, these details don't actually matter that much, is what I found. That was one of the big major confusion points for me, was do I need to send it directly to this exact bank, or do I have to put my accommodation that I'm in Bolivia? I think from memory, what I ended up doing is I just basically put in my accommodation that I was staying in Bolivia, and I used those same details across all of Bolivia, so it seems like the exact address doesn't really matter that much. So yeah, anyway, once you've filled out all these details, you then can select how much in your currency, be that euros or pounds, I guess, I'm not sure about people from the States, and it will give you what the conversion rate is through that application. I think when I first entered Bolivia, it was maybe 15.8 Bolivianos to the pound, but by the last time I took out money, it was up to 20. So yeah, you put in the amount of money you want to exchange, it's a small conversion fee, and then you essentially send that money to yourself through PayPal, and PayPal gives you a reference code. And then this is where it kind of gets a little bit, especially when you haven't done it the first time, it's a bit like, I have a reference code, I know that I'm sending it to this bank group in Bolivia, but okay, what do I do now? So essentially, from my experience, I think within the bank selection on Xoom, it has a lot of different possible banks that you can use, but the only bank that I actually came across that allowed you to do this and take money out officially from them was Banco Económico. Usually there's one in most of the major cities in Bolivia, from my experience, in La Paz, in Sucre, in Potosi. Some smaller places obviously might not have a Banco Económico, but as long as you can access one at the start of your trip or whenever, then you're golden. And essentially you just walk into the bank with you need to have your passport, a photocopy of your passport with your face page, or the main page of your passport, plus the page that has your stamp, your entry stamp into Bolivia. And that can just be on one sheet of paper. I think, it needs to be on one sheet of paper, sorry. And you can do this in your hostel. There's actually loads of places that offer photocopying services in Bolivia for like 20 cents or 20 pence, I guess, in UK money. Literally nothing. And you go into Banco Económico. Usually there might be a security guard or someone that's going to ask you what you're there for. And even if your Spanish isn't great, if you just say Xoom or cash pickup or para traer efectivo, something like that, they will know what basically to take you to a little touchpad, and on the touchpad you touch like caja services, like services of I can't exactly remember, but you basically get a ticket, and this ticket gives you your place in the line for when you're going to be attended to. Once you get attended, you go up to the desk. You explain to the clerk that you're here to pick up cash, and they'll immediately ask for your passport and your reference code and your photocopy. They'll then stamp your photocopy, basically with details that you'll need to fill in, handwritten. It's usually basically very, very basic. I think it's like your name, the amount of money that you're sending over, your current accommodation that you're in Bolivia, and a few other things. And it is in Spanish, so if you can use Google Translate, or you can ask maybe someone at the bank that might be able to translate for you, and you can just fill out those details. Once you fill those details out, you come back to the clerk, and basically that's it. Hey presto. They then just double check that everything's correct. And with your reference code, your photocopy, and they just double check your passport, then they basically just start giving you the cash. It's actually quite an insane experience going to a bank and taking out a cash from a clerk. It's not something that I really experienced before, but it's definitely worth it, especially when the official rate is at least 50. If you go to an ATM and just take out money at an ATM, you're literally losing like 60% of your money or the value that you could be getting in Bolivia. Just think about how much further you can stretch your money, how much of a better time you can have. So I know there are other options available from people that I've spoken to. You can use Western Union. I think there's an application called Remitly, or something like that. I'm not exactly sure. I've actually never seen it. I've just heard it being said. And then obviously there's the option of actually bringing foreign currency in the first place. US dollars in cash is probably going to get you the best, most effective use of your money. But it's just some people don't like having lots of cash on them when they're traveling, just in case they get robbed or whatever. Some people like the flexibility of being able to take out money, bits at a time. So this is definitely a good option, using the online routes. Like, I'm pretty sure the other options are very similar in the steps that you take, but this at least is how you use PayPal or Xoom. Another thing I would say, if you have just a final tip, if you have cash in hand, there is a website that you can, because it seems to be fluctuating quite a lot, the sort of conversion from US dollars to Bolivianos. In the sort of the parallel market rate. There is a tracker online. I'll see if I can find a link and just put it somewhere on the screen. It's basically blue dollar tracker for Bolivianos, and that means that when you approach these casas de cambios, basically exchange houses, that you know that you're getting a good deal for what's being offered. So you can compare it with the online actual rate, and if what they're offering is pretty similar, then you know that you're not getting ripped off. But that's really it. I just wanted to. I know I'm actually not in Bolivia, so I would have. I'm in Ecuador just now, and if I was in Bolivia, I would have maybe done a bit more step by step and going into the bank, and it might have been a bit difficult bringing a camera into the bank. To be honest, they're quite strict with mobile phones and things, but just to give it a bit more of a step by step process. But I think I've explained pretty clearly enough, and don't be afraid to do this. It's super simple. A lot of the banks know as soon as you're a gringo or you look foreign, they kind of know why you're going into Banco Económico in the first place. So they're very used to people coming in and taking cash out, and just believe in the process. When you use PayPal and Xoom, you do actually get the Bolivianos at the end of the day. Yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope this helped at least someone out, just to maybe someone who's just entered Bolivia with no dollars, like when I was in that situation, and was trying to piece the story together of how to actually take advantage of the parallel market rate without physical dollars in hand. And yeah, just know that it's possible, and at least through the way that I did it, it definitely works. And yeah, it's definitely worth doing if you want to extend your budget and not get ripped off by the banks in Bolivia. Just a side note, obviously I know that the whole parallel conversion rate subject obviously because Bolivia is in real problems with their economy and just their situation in general. Basically, the central bank or the government have run out of dollars in their reserves, and that's why there's such a high demand for dollars within the country, because there is none really. There's not a lot, but the government have basically set their official rate and they just don't move it. So it's kind of like an imaginary rate where the government say this is how many Bolivianos there is to a dollar, and that's not changing. But in reality, the demand doesn't match that official rate, and that's why in these you have like the blue dollar rate essentially. And it was a bit of a point of contention in my mind, as it was kind of felt like I was a foreigner, gringo, just taking advantage of this situation in Bolivia. But I feel like at the end of the day, if you're kind of using your foreign currency in Bolivia and spending money in the economy, then that can only help the situation. So yeah, just at least from people that I spoke to, like locals, that seemed to be there. Obviously, we have a large leverage with foreign currency, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't be making the most of the money we have. And it is, at the end of the day, bringing money into the economy through tourism. So don't feel bad to do it. And yeah, it's a really tough situation in Bolivia. I was there for 2.5 months, and I seen the real struggles of the people. And they're some of the most lovely people I've ever met during my travels. So nice, so down to earth. Super safe country. I never felt unsafe in all the places that I went to. Obviously I didn't go to the dangerous places, but yeah, my heart goes out to all the Bolivianos out there who are struggling just now. But I just wanted to give this as a bit of helpful advice for your everyday traveller like me. Hopefully it can help someone. Okay, cheers. Catch you later.